From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth check update of 2022 and breaking news about that big $80,000 of stimulus checks going live. Viewers have started to apply for the money, and I'll go over the success story in today's video for one of them. But first, we're going to turn to the big signing details of the Build Back Better Act. It's going to the finish line, and that has $80,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Meantime, part of the first add-ons went live, and those $80,000 of the homeowners checks are now paying out. And I'll show you the incredible developing details on Afternoons. Then we'll be looking at the situation unfolding for 6 stimulus. This is both domestically, statewide, and also on an international basis. France and Germany and the United States leading the charge. This is caused because of the economic situation caused by Vladimir Putin to fend off a recession. And we'll go over the latest details on it in today's afternoon's broadcast. Then we go to CR for stimulus and why the White House is making another move on that next week. Then next up also is SS300 and the ability to raise your benefits $300 a month and what Jay Powell is likely to do this coming week. We have the latest details on the inflation front and also on your benefits. Then we turn back to the big money for third stimulus. As viewers continue to get this money and may it overlap with fourth stimulus, you can get both of them. I'll show you those incredible sums of money. It's a big afternoon's broadcast with a lot of major developing details just today, including a major twist in the oil situation overnight. And it signals that we could be heading to recession because no plan is in place to pivot our international partners off of Russian oil. What is the latest details? I'll go over the latest on that and what it means for you domestically and why Jay Powell can't fix it and only the president can. Those incredible details as we go into a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with 4th, 5th, 6th, and also those add-on checks. The details, the excitement start right now from the coast of Santa Monica, California. On a big afternoon, you ready for the checks? I am. Let's get to the details as Afternoons LA starts now. And good afternoon, everybody. Be having a beautiful day. Away we go as the White House is trying to fend off recession and trying to get a partner ally to allocate oil. But did the White House run into a snag overnight? It's breaking news on this afternoon's broadcast. All the latest details on this major turn of events and why this is bigger than the concern of inflation. I'll go over that in just a second. But we're going to start with the Build Back Better Act and then also those $80,000 of checks. As one viewer got her application on file, I'm going to show you the incredible sums of money. It's live. But first, we're going to start with Build Back Better. 4th stimulus recon. 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. Passed in the House, sitting in the Senate, and will get passed, says the President of the United States in a series of new interviews and also in his State of the Union address. Later in this video, stay with me. We're going to go over those $80,000 of checks. They're an add-on. They are already law and already being paid out. So let's start with the core of Build Back, 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's look at those checks. And tonight, in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to look at each of these checks one at a time. It's Evenings LA, and tune in then. $15,000 of checks to $60,000 are in this incredible 4th stimulus recon. In cluster number 1, they got hazard pay and $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, $3,600 for the young children's money, and then the $550 for college students for the Pell Grant. They got the credible money, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, and then the home repairs. to repair your home if you live in a low-income community. That is the first of three clusters of checks and three add-ons in this incredible fourth stimulus recon. The first add-on comes to the shores here of Southern California. Maxine Waters got it in there, and it's just a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. How do you get these sums of money? You tune in tonight to Evenings LALATE in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for America's most watched financial news show in prime time. Let's now go to the incredible second cluster of checks. The second cluster of checks has paid leave and also home repairs. Paid leave could be upwards to $4,000 to $6,000 across the board. Then we go into the second add-on of checks, $250 billion from Bob Casey. He got it in there. This is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. We then turn to the third cluster of checks, where it gets even bigger, with lots of checks for our seniors and even checks for our farmers. In that third cluster of checks, we have in there the seniors, the free internet for all checks, the farmers checks, the independent contractors checks, and also lots of other checks like nutrition. This again is the third cluster, 3 in the Build Back Better Act. Detailed more tonight in ED's LA at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Tune in for that show in prime time tonight. We'll go over each of these checks in incredible detail. The seniors getting lots of checks from this Build Back Better. They're getting the dental checks, vision checks, hearing, Medicaid gap fix, which is to provide a workaround plan that provide insurance to uninsured people in those 12 Republican states, and then lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to this recon. The other checks that they vowed to add in there are MSC. MSC. This is a body of checks that will be added to the recon that already has $15,000 to $80,000 in there for you. What are MSCs? These are monthly IRS stimulus checks that come to you just like the other checks in the Build Back Better. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. The eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check, says the legislators to viewers of this channel. So, single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. And family of 4, you get it as well, quadruple it. Tonight on Evenings LA in prime time, we go over these MSCs. And so if you're interested in that, tune into tonight's recording at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 after for up to 6 months. What's important to understand when we're looking at those MSCs, this is a body of checks that would be added to the fourth stimulus recon that already has upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of checks in there. But the incredible great news is that when you're looking at the Build Back Better Act, one of the add-on of checks already became a law. And that add-on of checks is those $80,000 of monthly, those $80,000 of homeowners checks. These stimulus checks are now paying out. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over each of these incredible checks. Yes, this is for all the eligibility we just went over for Build Back Better. The only difference is Build Back Better, not law yet. This is law, and it is paying out. And one viewer overnight said she got her application on file. I'm going to go over her incredible success story and why you need to pounce across the board. Later in this video, of course, we'll also be going to 6 stimulus. 6 stimulus, 4th stimulus, 3rd stimulus, they're all happening at the same time. Do not ask why are we doing 6 when we're doing 4th, because it's a numbering system. Only for me on this channel. There are lots of programs that Congress does at the same time. I'm just giving them different numbering systems so you can keep track of them at the same time. And this is the largest stimulus package you're ever going to see in the history of this channel. It's Putin stimulus. It's Putin-caused stimulus, led by Germany and France. It's going to be internationally, domestically, and also on a state-by-state basis. It's coming up later in this video, that 6 stimulus package and those checks. But first, let's turn back to domestically. The CR passed this last week, continuing resolution, and did not have a $2,000 stimulus check in there. But in a strange turn of events, it had checks for you. Those checks are on a county basis. Wow, this was a shocker to everyone, including the legislators. 2 years ago, this channel made history by getting a single $600 stimulus check into the continuing resolution of December 2020. At the time that we pushed to get it in there, the pushback, the criticism was nothing for citizens who belongs in a CR. It's only for the federal government. Well, 2 years later, now, this last week, Congress clearly was watching this channel because that's what they did. They did exactly the opposite, or exactly what we did 2 years ago. They put county stimulus in there for you as citizens. So county by county has stimulus in there. It's very different, and with so many counties across the country, I cannot cover it. But in the case of Georgia, lots of it, and already covered in your local news. That is the CR. Next up is the SS300. And this coming week, we're going to see major twists and turns with the SS300. This is the ability to raise your benefits up about $200 now, and then another $100 later this year. It's dependent upon what's going on with the inflationary news. And the inflationary news is very fluid going into this new week. Let me tell you where inflation is right now and why this new week is very critical for the SS300 situation. The SS300 situation is locked in fine between now and April, but my concern is the month of May. Let's go over the equation right now. Joe Biden, in his campaign promises and in his presidential platform at joebiden.com, represents he's going to replace COLA with inflation. By swapping COLA for inflation, you lock in the highest inflation rate of a generation, if it's done now. But if it's done later, then what? Let's go over the equation right now. Featured on this channel since early last year, I've been predicting inflation rates and getting them right every single time. I said the inflation rate in December 2020, last year I said this, would be 8%. No one else is saying this. And I said it was going to be sustained at 8%, month after month. Wall Street, Fed said 1 to 2%, and only 1 month. They were wrong. The 7.5% inflation rate for December was released about 4 weeks ago. But then last Thursday, we got the January number. I predicted it was going to be at 8% again. Where did it come in at 7.9%? So closer to my prediction, even more so the second month. But what is going to happen with the month of February, which is going to be released in the month of March? We don't know. And more importantly, we don't know what Jay Powell's going to do in the month of April. Now, we do know what Jay Powell's going to do this month, in the next couple of days. Jay Powell, his job is to reduce inflation. And he does it 2 ways. Raising interest rates at FOMC meetings, and 2, doing it in a modification mode. Let's go over the details. Jay Powell, his job is to reduce inflation because Joe Biden can't. And Jay Powell, here he is, head of Federal Reserve, reduces inflation by increasing the interest rate. 5 meetings, 5 months, FOMC meetings. His goal is to have an interest rate spike at each meeting, at least. Now, he can do 2 spikes at a meeting. That would be more severe. Or he could do a double single spike. That would also be more severe. He gave us the indication what he's going to do for the month of March 2 weeks ago. He said this coming week, we're going to do a half basis point. That is the quarter basis point. That is the lesser of 2 strengths. Half basis point will be a little bit stronger. So we're locked in good for the month of this March for bringing inflation down to where we think it would land. It's the question of what's going to happen in April and May. Let's go over part of the equation. First, number 1, the quarter basis point increase from Jay Powell this month will not kill inflation or bring it down dramatically, because it takes a month for anything to slide through the system. That's number 1. Number 2, it's not a very severe interest rate spike, so it's only a quarter basis point. So 8% inflation now, good. 8% inflation next month, yes. 8% the month after that, that is where it becomes a little bit problematic. Why? Because Jay Powell's watching the economic data, and the economic data is very fluid. Number 1, his central bank counterpart in Europe this last week said that inflation is a little bit higher than we actually see trending. So he may see her move, which was to come in more aggressively, and he may come in more aggressively a month from now, number 1. Number 2, the bond market on Friday said that, you know what, we saw that CPI, that Consumer Price Index number of 7.9% inflation in Thursday's numbers. But by Friday, the bond market said, nope, we think inflation is a little bit higher than that for this month, a month later. So Jay Powell sees the bond market, sees the European community, and may pivot a month from now and come in more aggressively. That's why you want Joe Biden to make the swap now in March, at least in April, but not in May, because May could be problematic. Remember, it takes a month for Jay Powell's efforts to float through the system. How does this work? You're at the highest inflation rate of a generation. So if Joe Biden made the swap out today, you raise your benefits about $200 a month, number one. Number two, if inflation comes down later this year, good. That's fine because you're still going to get a lift up. Your benefits are assessed every December, and your benefits are assessed based upon the new inflationary number in December, if that swap happens now. It's likely to be 4% inflation later this year or lower, and that would be another $100. That would be SS 300. So Joe Biden needs to make that swap right now from COLA to inflation. Hashtag Joe make the phone call. That is SS 300. JoeBiden.com, his presidential platform. And the situation very fluid for now for the month of April, but locked in for the month of March. We're good for this month. We're good for potentially April, but we're problematic for May. That's why he needs to make the pivot. Meantime, in the second half of this video, we're going to look at $80,000 of stimulus checks. They're paying out. They're law. They're being received, and they're getting pounced upon by Purple Hawks. While other people say, when is that check landing in my bank account? Other people are going to the bank and cashing their checks. And they're the purple power of this channel. Then we'll be turning to six stimulus, France and Germany, United States, and why the oil situation overnight got even worse. Yes, the oil situation got even worse. We'll be looking at what happened with OPEC Plus overnight, what happened with Iran overnight, and what happened with Iraq overnight. Meantime, what domestically is impacting the energy shortage and why West Texas is not inherently the solution. We'll have all of these details and more as we go into a big second half, as we look at six stimulus, Putin-caused stimulus, and what it means for you domestically at home. All those details, plus those $80,000 of checks, coming up in the second half of this video. See you back in 60 seconds as Afternoons LA continues today.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now as we go into the second half of an Afternoons LA weekend edition. The surprising developing details continue to grow with that sixth stimulus package and inflation surging out of control. What does it mean for you and your wallet? And what about those $80,000 of checks? We'll be looking at those in the second half of this video, plus third stimulus, which continues to pay out. It's a big second half, and I'm excited you're here, and this is Afternoons LA. We're going to start first with the incredible details of why it's important to understand that multiple stimulus packages happen at the same time, and that you need to understand that the numbering system on this channel is just to number things to separate them out. You may hear third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then wonder, wait a second, we're doing three at the same time? Yes. Numbering system of this channel is the way that I separate it out so you understand which one is which. A lot of these things don't have names to them, and so I use numbers. We could use red and green and blue, but I use numbers. So sixth stimulus, fourth, and third will be happening at the same time. Let's go right into the incredible great news about the two fourth stimulus issues on the channel. First is Build Back Better Act. Passed in the House, not passed in the Senate, not law yet. Build Back Better are not law yet, but the fourth stimulus add-on, those $80,000 checks, is law. So let's go the incredible sums of money. First, let's go over what happened. 2 Fridays ago, I do what I do best on this channel, find you money. And on a Friday afternoon, buried in a news article was this incredible round of $80,000 of checks being paid out by the White House to you. And if you didn't know about it, you don't get it. It's not like it lands in your hand. You have to tune into this channel. As soon as it was announced by the White House, I featured it for members in the membership newsletter that night. It's been featured in the membership newsletter every night ever since, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that comes from the YouTube alerts. It's called the Homeowners Grant. It's $80,000 of stimulus checks to every homeowner in the zone of income qualification nationwide across the board. We're going to go over what it is, how you get it, what happened, and why this is incredible great news. First, let's continue what happened with that rollout. Announced by the White House on a Friday, and I said the details of it as soon as it went live. It was not covered in broadcast media, so you're not going to see it anywhere else. And it will likely never get covered in broadcast media. It's much like the EIDL. Remember the EIDL grant alone, you never saw it on broadcast media, but it paid out fortunes to the viewership of this channel. What happened was the following Monday, which is now 2 Mondays ago, I said it was going live, and I said, get your application on file. At the time of this recording, which is March 12, 2022, it is now live in every state in either pre-application mode or application mode with payout. I'll go over that in a second so you know what it means, so don't worry. Let's go over first what this is. First, it's for someone who owns a home. Second, it's for someone that falls with a zone of income qualifications as a third stimulus check. So if you got a third stimulus check, you would qualify for this. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Now, usually when we talk about stimulus check, we talk about doubling it. You don't double this. So if it's a family of 4, you don't quadruple this to $320,000. It's $15,000 to $80,000 a household. So if you're within the zone of income qualification and you own your home, you qualify. Go get it. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rural Benefits, Veterans Benefits, you can get it as well if you're in the zone of income qualification and you own your home. Now, if you do not own a home and you're a renter, stay with me because later in this video, I have money for you for rental assistance. It's called third stimulus. For third stimulus, I have rent and homeowners assistance. Yeah, you can get both if you're a homeowner. And for homeowners, I have third stimulus and this fourth stimulus add-on, these $80,000 of checks. So let's continue with the homeowners grant. How do you get it? First of all, you want to become a member. Become a member. The link is on the video, at the top of the video or under the video. Become a member and get that newsletter. It goes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system directly to you. Let's go over more about the incredible program right now. In that program, it is underwritten by the federal government, but it's administered by the states. So in the membership newsletter, you're going to see the link that'll send you right into apply for the application. You want to apply for the application right now. And what does it cover? It covers a lot of things that viewers have asked for coverage in over a year and a half, and we never had it until now. First, property taxes, homeowners assistance, homeowners association fees, yes, mortgages, home repairs, and more. More about these details are featured in tonight's Evenings Highlight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time in prime time. But let's continue. Now, what do you do to get the money? You get your application on file immediately. And what's important when we're talking about this is that, number one, it is every single state. Number two, every state will have it, either has it now or will have it in just a few days. Let me give you a backdrop so you understand what this looks like if you're new to the channel. It looks exactly like unemployment assistance of 2020. Day one of this channel was April 25th, 2020. I pressed record on an abandoned lockdown beach in Hermosa Beach. And I told my viewers, which were two, hi two viewers, there's a new program going live. It's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. And I want you to get your application on file today, April 25th, because they're accepting pre-authorization today. It's not paying out today, but they're accepting the applications today. Get your application on file today, April 25th. Viewers listened, all two of them. And then guess what? On April 28th, those two viewers got paid when the programs opened. And suddenly they woke up and there was a deposit on their account. Now, the two other people who are not viewers, who tuned in on the 28th, that just found the channel on the 28th, they saw it and then they applied the 28th. Guess when they got paid? About a month later. Yeah, you do not wait until the application portal is paying out. You apply as soon as the application portal is accepting applications. So don't wait and hear they haven't paid out anything in the state yet. You apply as soon as they accept the applications, because those are the applications they will pay on the first day that the payment process is going over. Let's go over the map so you understand why this is important. Here we're looking at a map. This map is for this incredible homeowners grant. California, Texas, Florida are all the same color, like a teal color. What does that mean? It means they're receiving the applications today and they're also paying today. In the case of Ohio and Nevada, it means they're receiving the applications today, but they're not paying today. So that means you, as a viewer, apply today. You do not wait for Ohio to turn green. You apply today when Ohio is pink, because they're accepting the applications. The moment Ohio turns to green or teal, whatever you call that color, I don't like it. It's muddled. As soon as it turns to teal, then the day it turns to teal, you're going to see a check in your bank account. You don't wait till Ohio turns to teal to apply. You apply today when it's pink. And unless you like to wait for money, if you like to wait for money and get money late, then just wait around and then maybe it'll run out of money. Yeah, the programs may run out of money as well. This is $80,000 of checks. And again, how do you get this money? Become a member. The membership link is under the video, and get that incredible newsletter. The newsletter comes out via the YouTube alert system. If you got alert from YouTube for this video now playing, that is what a YouTube alert is. The YouTube alert says, hi, there's a video playing. I write the YouTube alerts, so you actually see something written by me. It is not manually sent to each of you one at a time. It is sent out through an automated process. It's called the YouTube alerts. At 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, the membership newsletter goes out via the YouTube alerts. It does not go out by email. It does not go out by PDF. It does not go out by smokescreen or horse and buggy. And needless to say, I gotta laugh because I'm getting incredible questions. I thought the newsletter comes out by hand delivery to my home. No, it does not come with a gift basket either. You know, we're behind on the technology now. When I can digitally give you an NTF of a horse and buggy to deliver it to you via the metaverse. I'll deliver you the newsletter to the metaverse in 2 years from now. But for now, it's coming via the YouTube alert system. You know, maybe we'll just do newsletters in the metaverse, you know, a couple years from now. But for now, it's not in the metaverse. It's via the YouTube alert system. I think this is going to be the new jug. Yeah, you know, Mitch is trying to have the newsletter delivered by the lobsters, but I just don't see that happening on this channel. So here we go. Become a member, get these incredible $80,000 checks. And you know what? I got to thank the viewers. I really have to thank you. You have really come around so incredibly well. You as viewers have really pounced and gotten you taken your information, your educational level from here to there in just 10 seconds. And I know you have that capability, and it's just incredible. Let's look at one of the success stories overnight. It's a success story because she did exactly what she's supposed to do. I'm not saying she's a success story because she's going to get the money. I'm saying because she did exactly what she's supposed to do. This is Patrice. I got to praise her and just give her big applause. I listened to LA, and I applied for the homeowner stimulus, and it was not difficult at all. They say I applied successfully. Thank you. I'll let you know what happens. I'm in Texas. They have the homeowners program. Great. Beatrice is not a Purple Hawk, but she listened. And as a viewer of this channel, she understood how to do it. She took the video, which is an informational video, an educational news broadcast, and she listened and she applied. She's in Texas. She didn't wait around. Here's Texas right here. She's in a teal state. And she got the application file. Kevin Lee, one of the original viewers of this channel, he understood the importance of these programs not being around forever. And he was from Texas, and he applied for rent in the first 3 months of this channel in 2020, when first stimulus was sitting around, there wasn't a lot of rent then, folks. There was very little rent. He heard on his local news, and it literally was live for the program for 1 week. So that's the importance of applying. I don't know how quickly these funds will run out. So, and I'm not going to predict this either. I'm surprised the third stimulus still has funds for all of you. But in the case of this, get these sums of money right now. Become a member and get that incredible newsletter. Now let's go into sixth stimulus, which got a major twist and turn overnight. What is sixth stimulus? Sixth stimulus is another piece of legislation. And while first stimulus, second stimulus, and first and second stimulus were for COVID, and third stimulus was for getting out of COVID, and while fourth stimulus is also for getting out of COVID, sixth stimulus will be Putin-caused stimulus. You may call it also oil prices stimulus, but I'm calling it Putin-caused stimulus because it's to deal with keeping this and our partner countries out of recession. And it's not because of inflation, it's because of the concern of recession caused by Vladimir Putin. At issue, of course, is oil, number one, but number two is other industries that Vladimir Putin is disrupting and could disrupt them economically for many years to come and send us into a tailspin of recession, both here and our partner countries. Among the other commodities, wheat, grain, soybean, and corn. Also, the other element that's deeply troubling that's featured tonight in the evening's broadcast in prime time, you want to watch that show because it's big news. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, is the banking industry. Could the banking industry be a major risk of major downturns because of Vladimir Putin's economy becoming devalued or valueless by the end of this month? All the latest details in that in just a second. But let's start with the oil situation overnight. Oil situation, which is what sixth stimulus is about, got very bad overnight. Let's go over what sixth stimulus starts with. Sixth stimulus is the allegiance of France, Germany, and the United States, and other potential allies in the future that says, you know what, we have to get off of Russian products like Russian oil. And we can't economically afford to survive without anything with the solution. So the only way we can survive to get off of Russian oil and stay away from a recession is to debt spend. Increase spending domestically and give stimulus to our citizens. That's the concept of sixth stimulus. Again, get off of Russian products like oil, but because the alternative is too expensive to keep our economies out of recession, we have to raise our national debt and then give stimulus to our citizens. This was led by Germany and France and the United States in talks in the recent days. It's happening. It's absolutely happening. And when detailed on this channel first in prime time on Evenings Ally on March 8th, 2022, 2 hours after that broadcast, your state governors, Republican and Democrat, both came out and saying, we're doing state stimulus because you cannot sustain the price of gasoline. So you're going to see sixth stimulus internationally on a national level from Joe Biden and a state level from your states. Some of the states are talking about things like waiving the taxes on gasoline at the pump, which would save you fortunes of dropping from like $5 a gallon to $1 a gallon. More about that as it unfolds in the coming months, but let's go right into sixth stimulus right now. Sixth stimulus got a major twist overnight, and that twist was that those two leaders, Macron and the leader of Germany, had to reach out to Putin to try to calm him down and say, can we get a ceasefire from you? Can we end this war? German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron spoke to Putin on Saturday, March 12th, and could not get Putin to move one iota. That means that sixth stimulus is happening, number one. Number two, sixth stimulus is getting more important now than even before. Why? Because the oil situation got worse overnight. Let me tell you how it got worse overnight. The alternatives for the Russian oil for our international partners got potentially more bleak overnight. What are the alternatives? OPEC Plus, Venezuela, Iran, or Iraq. Iraq and Iran, of course, are part of the OPEC Plus allegiances. Here's what's at issue. Everything's falling apart. It's not looking good at the time of this recording. This is March 12th, 2022. Excuse me, March 13th, 2022. And I got to tell you, I don't know what the White House is doing on this one. I don't know what the partner allies are doing, like Macron and Germany's head. I don't know what they're doing because days go by and I get more worried. Let's go over why I'm worried. The current price of gasoline is not sustainable. Current price of gasoline in the United States is not sustainable through the month of May. And guess what? The month of May is less than 8 weeks away. If we stay at current levels of gasoline through the month of May, we're going to recession for 2 years. So the time is the essence. I mean, I've been making this recording for this time crunch of May for several weeks. I've been making the importance of getting off of the Russian oil and getting a substitute ready since day one of the Russian invasion. The partner allies haven't gotten the solution done. And here's the problem today is that some of the solutions or potential solutions are now looking off the table. They look like they're no longer available. Number one, the first one is Iran. Iran was one of those initial solutions, which I featured on the channel, where I said, you know what, Iran looks good, but I'm worried it takes too long. That was what I initially said. Today I'm changing my reporting because the situation changed. I'm not changing my reporting. I'm just changing. I have the update for you, which is Iran looks to not like to be happening. Iran's chief nuclear negotiator, Ali Bajar Kanani, now indicates that potentially the deal could be off. Let me tell you what's going on. The United States and Iran are in a sanctions mode for many years because of nuclear issues in Iran. The White House has sanctioned Iran because of their nuclear situation. And because of that sanctioning, Iranian oil has not been in our system for many years. So the pivot by the White House is to try to get the Iranian nuclear deal done. And if it's done, then the Iranian oil comes back in our system and our partners' ally systems. It's a great idea. And I said no less than 2 weeks ago, I was worried it was taking it's a slow process and that it may take all the way to June to get that deal done. Well, today is actually worse. It's not that it's going to take to June to get the deal done. It's that the deal may not ever happen. New reports today suggest that Russia is demanding Iran not to agree to the deal with us. Surprise, surprise. And that because of that, the Iran deal may fall apart. It's been over a year of negotiations in Vienna with this deal, which is called the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan, JCPOA, that would involve Iran limiting their nuclear ambitions to have their sanctions removed, and the sanctions would be to allow their gasoline to flow into our system. But guess who's trying to cause problems? Putin. His team is saying to Iran, don't do it or we're going to cause you problems. It's our understanding that Iran and the United States have worked hard to resolve the final bilateral issues, and we're ready to continue the deal, says the EU coordinator. But while French and British and German negotiators are still working on it, and that the deal is still on the table, yeah, sort of, the report is that Russia is trying to block it. Nobody should seek to exploit the JCPOA agreements negotiation to obtain assurances that separate to the JCPOA. The risk of the collapse of the deal, depriving the Iranian people of sanctions lifting, is not good. Translation: the EU, Germany, France, and at least the negotiators involved in Vienna say, let Iran come out of sanctions, many years of sanctions, and let them have their oil distributed. But Iran may give in to Russia and not agree to the deal, and that may cause the deal to go down. My takeaway at the moment, there is no deal, and I don't see the deal happening right at the moment. And the quotes from market analysts in the United States last week is that they don't believe the deal is going to happen. Iranian talks are on hold is one factor supporting markets, says UBS analyst Giovanni Stavuno on Saturday, March 12th. So a lot of analysts do not believe the Iranian deal is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen either. I just don't think I think Iran's going to block it. So Iran may be no longer on the table. Number two, Venezuela. Venezuela, we see no progress on the Biden administration with Venezuela. Why? Venezuela is also heavily sanctioned by the United States. And because the United States cannot find a comfort zone in where to lift those sanctions with Venezuela, which is the number one exporter of oil internationally, is also not in part of the equation at the moment either. So that doesn't look like it's working. Number three, Iraq. Iraq is part of the United Arab Emirates. And Iraq was the subject of a rumor last week that it could increase production. And also another rumor was United Arab Emirates. You've seen this graphic on this channel for over 3 weeks. Why? Because UAE is a partner ally of the United States. It could ramp up production, has had the opportunity to ramp up production. But guess what? I have an update about that as well. OPEC Plus now, in the latest details today, suggests that it will not ramp up production. The latest situation right now is that many believe that OPEC Plus, which includes Angola, Nigeria, and also includes Russia, will not increase production. We have a close eye on the pressure that will supply the shock tanks, says USB head of economics Norbert Ruckert. But the current situation is that OPEC Plus, it doesn't look like it's happening. OPEC Plus increase in production for those partner allies in the United States doesn't look like it's happening. So that looks like it's problematic as well. Iranian talks are on hold is one factor supporting the markets. And at the moment, the OPEC Plus countries are not ramping up the productions, and they don't seem to have an agreement. So Iran, not happening yet. Venezuela, not happening. UAE, not happening. And OPEC Plus, not happening as well. If all this is a big no, then what does this mean for us and our pocketbooks? It means that 6 stimulus absolutely what happened. On Evenings LA tonight in prime time, we'll go over more about this. The other part of the equation, of course, is the domestic production. Domestic production has not been ramped up by the White House, but let's say domestic production was ramped up tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow domestic production was ramped up in the United States. Would that solve the economic issues at hand? No. We have to solve the economic issues of ourselves and our partner allies. I'll tell you why. If we increase production domestically for oil, we keep our economy from going into recession directly, but we will go into recession as well indirectly because our partner allies like France and Germany and Italy, they'll go into recession and they'll bring us down. The way it works is that we're dependent coexisting economies, and if one of our partner countries goes under, we go under. It's as simple as that. Let me give you an analogy. If you remember the very last recession, New York and the East Coast went into the recession first before the West Coast. West Coast was almost delayed almost 6 months. When it was over, the East Coast came out first and the West Coast came out. It's a domino effect. Things don't happen all at the same time. So we would, if we increase production domestically, we solve our situation here short term. But if our partner allies don't have their situation solved because we didn't help them, then we go under as well. That is the situation to start with when we talk about 6 stimulus. But the grain and wheat industry, very fluid. It's far from over. What is going on with the wheat and grain industry? Vladimir Putin has yet to take the town of Odessa, the beautiful port city of the Black Sea. It is an agrarian community where major crops, wheat, grain, and soybean, are exported to those partner countries. Now those crops are not being exported. Why? Because there's a war going on. And this is going to be a problem for not this crop season, but crop seasons to go. Why? Because the farmers are not tending the crop now. They're not harvesting the crop now, and they're not preparing the soil for next season. And the soil may potentially be ruined by the war at issue. With that soil ruined, it's disrupting the price, the delivery of the crop to those partner allies. And guess what that does to us back home? Our grain goes up in price because there's less grain available internationally. If there's less of any product internationally available, whether it's wheat, grain, or soybean caused by Vladimir Putin, it goes up. And this is another product that could send us into a recession. That is why 6 stimulus from Germany, France, United States, and those partner allies is not just for oil. It's also for any commodity that could send us into recession. Meantime, tonight on Evenings LALATE, we'll be looking at another issue, which is very, very troubling. It is the banking industry and a potential banking industry downturn that could be right ahead of us if this situation is not at ease. What's at issue? We do not know at the time of today's recording how large, and how proliferation the exposure of U.S. banks to Russian investments are. U.S. banks do have Russian investments, bonds and Russian stocks. Those bonds and those stocks in Russia are soon about to become valueless. We all know this. I've been reporting this since day one of the invasion. The Russian economy is going from number 10 in the world to obsolete, like a Cuba status, where things have no value. They can't be traded. They cannot be sold. The bonds have no credit rating. That is the future in just a few weeks. Guess what happens? Domestically, a bank that had an investment there has to say in its Q2, Q3, or Q4 earnings report, hi, by the way, we have a line item. $500 million loss. We had a Russian position. We had to take the loss. We cleared out the loss. This is not an office. This is actually an investment that went from a value to zero. And that zero could send us in a tailspin. And guess who last dealt with this? Yeah, Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Day one of the administration, their job was to come in and solve the banking industry going under at the very end of the George Bush Jr. administration. So this is another situation that you need to be prepared for economically, because guess what? This is more than oil. This is more than wheat. This is the banking industry. And we don't know the risk. The risk is not embedded in the market. I'll make this very clear to the viewership. The risk is not embedded in the stock, the bond, the crypto market right now. So no one knows how broadly felt this risk is. And if you do not have risk embedded in the markets, then when you start to see it, the downturn could be dramatic. Tonight on E-News LA, we'll feature more about this. But for now, please get all these incredible sums of money. And third stimulus as well. Third stimulus has been one of the big success stories of this channel. It is for rent. It is also for homeowners. You can get both of them at the same time. And the success of this viewership of this channel is that they continue to get it day in, day out. Where do you get this money? Let's look at the details of it. When you're getting this third stimulus money, you want to reach out to 6 places and get it as quickly as possible. This is overlapping sometimes with fourth. Don't worry, go get it right now. Reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Get application on file everywhere. Now remember, this is for rent and for homeowners. That $80,000 of checks early in this video is for homeowners. You can get both of them. Now, you'll see here in this graphic, do multiple rounds. And open that membership newsletter is featured in the membership newsletter along with the nonprofits. The nonprofits do home repairs, yes. So you've heard about home repairs several times in this video. You heard about it in Build Back Better, proposed. You've heard about it in the $80,000 checks law. And you hear about the nonprofits right now. Yes, the nonprofits do those home repairs as well. I'll feature the membership newsletter. Become a member today. Get these sums of money. The average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Get these sums of money. Do not wait. Get it right now, just like you need to get that application on file for those $80,000 of stimulus checks. Do it today. And with that, as we go into a big afternoon, the excitement is far from over. We'll have more about what's happening with Vladimir Putin, why that 6th stimulus package is going to be the biggest stimulus package of this channel. It is going to be dwarfing first stimulus by astronomical proportions. We'll be looking at what's happening with the oil, energy, wheat, and grain, and also banking industry that could potentially send us to recession. We'll be looking more back at those SSI and SSDI issues with inflation, that SS300, and then we'll be looking more at that incredible map and the success stories the viewers continue to get with those incredible checks. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you tonight in E-News LA. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central. Stay informed, stay focused, keep it positive, keep it motivated, and keep it throughout the day on LALATE for all the breaking news you need to know. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more.